Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and good day to all of our beloved viewers to the Voice of the Cape's YouTube and Facebook page. My name is Amir Adams, and of course, I will be the presenter responsible for ensuring that we have the best of facilitators to assist all of our matriculant students as they prepare for their NSC examinations coming at the end of the year, inshallah. For today, we have our esteemed facilitator, who is Mr. Ridwan Basir, and he will be giving over content and he will be giving us this course pertaining to how students can prepare for engineering, graphics, and design. So all of the students doing engineering, graphics, and design out there, I would like to encourage you, if you know of anyone who is doing engineering, graphics, and design, please forward and share this link with them as they prepare for their upcoming examinations. Without further ado, we just like to indicate that this is a continuation of the Matric Revision program of the Voice of the Cape. That is, of course, this year being sponsored by the Two Oceans Graduate Institute. And if you'd like to find out more information about this institute and everything they do, you may contact them on the number 021 829 7015, and that is pertaining to our sponsor for this year's Matric Revision program, the Two Oceans Graduate Institute, which is an accredited online platform where you can become a primary school or a high school teacher by studying in the privacy of your own home. Besides the contact number that I've given, you may also visit the website www.togi.ac.za for more information. Without further ado, we hand over to our esteemed facilitator for today, that is none other than Mr. Ridwan Basir, who will be giving over the discourse and content as to how you can prepare for your engineering, graphics, and design paper. To Mr. Basir, we say Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum, and greetings to all our listeners, particularly the grade 12 learners of 2024. This is the continuation of a series of analyzation of different questions from the engineering, graphics, and design paper or papers which we are going to do over the next couple of weeks leading up to the final examination. So just to look at where we are at the moment. So last week, I gave a very detailed analysis of what engineering, graphics, and design papers are like, and we discussed during our last session question number 1, which is the analytical civil. So remember, for the next couple of weeks, we are busy with paper 1, and the analytical civil is part of paper 1, which we discussed last week. This week, however, we're moving on to question number 2. But just before I get there, I just want to touch on something here, which we did not actually finish. It was just the last question of question number 1, which I will go through. But the bulk part of this presentation today will be about question number 2. And remember what I said last week, grade 12s, that question number 2 can either be asked as a solid geometry or alternatively an interpenetration and development drawing. But they will definitely not ask both. So you just have to prepare for both to ensure that you are covered in this particular area. So if I just go to last week, and I know I've worked out all the calculations of the perimeter and the area, and it was just this particular question, which is number 21. In this space, in the title panel, this is the last question, always the last question. You need to draw freehand the SANS 10143 graphical symbols for a shower, and that would be the elevation and the plan, both views, and also a socket outlet. Now, just to show you what those symbols are like, I just want to change to my pen. So the first one is a shower, and a shower, the plan view of a shower is just basically a square box, and it has a little trap, which is a little circle. In any of the corners, you can put that circle, and then you have the front view or the elevation, as we call it in civil, right there, sort of lining up. And it has to be freehand because you actually get a mark for drawing it freehand. And then, of course, the the wall socket, you are going to have to draw a semicircle, and then there will be a line going straight up like that. That is a basic wall socket. You do, however, get a switch wall socket where there's an extension of another line here and one down, but this particular one is the drawing and the symbol for the socket outlet according to SANS 10143. Remember, if you do add a line here, the line cannot just be covering that section over there, because we are going to deduct and list that as an extra feature. It has to extend and protrude beyond that semicircle that you see there, that it's basically seen as the wall which you are drawing it against. Okay, so that basically covers last week's question number 1. So immediately I'm going to stop this here and I'm going to share my screen with the activity that has been prepared for this week. So let's just go there. So I'm going to look at a video which is the grade 12 paper 1 question 2 solid geometry, and I'm going to talk you through this video. I hope it's popping up now and that you can see it very clearly. So just before we start, we have to analyze a little bit what is going on in this video, and I'm just going to pause that there and just read you the information here. And this comes from the, if I'm not mistaken, the 2020 Matric paper, November 2020. So if you can find this paper on the internet, the DBE WCED website, and you can find this paper, download it, and you can do it as I'm going to explain it in this video. So what it says here in the instruction, and it's very important for you to list and read the instructions. What is given is the front view, and that is the front view that you see here on top. And you see the top view, which is at the bottom here, of a right regular hexagonal pyramid, and there's the pyramid, a hexagon in shape. And then you also see a right square pyramid, which is basically on its flat side here, pointing towards us. If you look at that front view, and that is what you see it looking like from the top. So the right square one, pyramid, both are pyramids, and the hexagonal one that you will see there. So those are given to you. And of course, also there's a cutting plane SS that runs through both. The specifications are that the two solids are not touching. So it looks like it's touching there, but if you look at the top view, there's a little bit of a gap in between here. So both solids are not touching each other, and both solids are cut by the plane SS. The instructions are that you need to draw to a scale of 1:1 the following views of the two solids, and it's listed here 2.1, which is the given front view. So that view that's given to you there, you will have to draw that. But of course, you are going to start with your 2.2, which is your sectional top view, which is that over here. And then you are going to proceed to a right view, which is going to be on your left-hand side. So if these are the two drawings, you're going to have a drawing on your left-hand side here because of this paper being in first orthographic projection. And then, of course, 2.4, the true shape of the cut surface of the hexagonal pyramid. So only the hexagonal pyramid true shape you need to draw. What is very important, which you need to note, is that planning here is essential. Where you draw, where you start, so that you utilize all the blank space that you need to be able to complete the drawing. Then, of course, also construction lines are important, and all the hidden detail needs to be shown as well. All right, let's proceed and see where we are going to start. So I have indicated a dot here, and it's towards the bottom of the page in the middle, and you can see that I've run my drawing across here to see what angle actually fits. And I have seen that the 45-degree set square actually fits that line because there it states 45, and I've drawn this particular line that you will see here from my center point, which I've indicated. And now I am going to look at what is one side, the dimension of one side, and the dimension of that one side is 45 millimeters. And that also now becomes the radius of the circle which I'm going to draw. So if you are if you are drawing this from a center point, you need to take one side and make that the radius of the faint circle, which is part of your construction, which you are going to draw. And you will see me drawing that faint construction over there. And I will also identify the 2 points on my circumference of my circle. I maintain that 45 and arc it both sides of those 2 points. As you can see, it unfolds in my video. And by doing so, I'm actually creating the 6 different sides of 45. So I'm going to disconnect the different points on my circumference. The first 2 would be those that are at angles 45, and then I can simply disconnect the other 2 or other 4 angles as such by using my straight edge. Any straight edge would be your set square or your T-square as well. And there I have completed basically my hexagonal base part of my pyramid. I will project the lines across so that you can see that those are the lines forming my apex. It's an upside down, as you can see here. That is why we have dashed lines in the middle here. What is very important, which I did here, which you have to note, I've labeled my points, and you're going to need this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can start anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you start. I've started at that specific point. You can start at any point and run it either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So these points are all going to go up. But just before I draw it up, I'm going to have my XY line, which is going to be from this point here, which you see in your given. And that XY line will be 15 millimeters as I've measured in the instructions up. Now that line is my XY line, right? That's the separation between the different views. And that is going to be the line that my apex is going to be situated on. I now will have to project all my points from 1 to 6, including my apex, up, right? And that is how I'm going to formulate my front view of my upside down hexagonal pyramid. Okay, and I will identify my points. That is apex, which is right at the bottom on my XY line, and I have a height of 70 millimeters, which I'm going to measure off from my apex, and I'm going to draw that line there, and that line becomes my base. So that's why I'm going to darken that line. And I will also indicate my different points. And my 1 point on the side here will be number 1. That will be number 2. That will be number 6. Then we have number 3. There will be number 5. Number 5 here. And then, of course, number 4 will be there. And then you obviously know that all these points actually run to my apex as I'm projecting that. And you can take each one, run it to your apex. Remember, I'm keeping it just faint because some lines will be dark, which can be seen, and others will be dashed. So I'm viewing this from my arrow here, which means that 1, 2, 3, and 4 will all be dark lines. 1, 2, 3, and 4 will all be dark lines, and number 6 and number 5 will be dashed. Reason for that is because those are at the back of my hexagon, my pyramid, as I'm viewing it from this point here where my arrow is indicated. So these 2, 6, and 5 will be dashed. Nice short little dashes will allow you to get the mark there, as well as this one that you will see me drawing in the video right now. You will also pick up that I'm actually drawing this dark. What is my reason for that? the tip that I want to leave you with today is that the view that has the cutting plane in it, or the cutting line in it, is the view that you can draw dark immediately. And this is a tip. The reason for that is nothing is going to happen to that view. That view is just an instruction and indication of where it's cut. So you can darken everything in this view. These views, unfortunately, has to wait a bit because it has an impact from the cutting plane that will be in this particular view, both your top and your right view on your left hand side. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to continue with this for space planning onto my right view on my left hand side. But before I can do that, I'm going to create an XY line any distance away, or you can have it as 15 as well. But I've used any distance, not too far. So those are both XY lines, one perpendicular to the other one. Wherever they cross, you are going to draw a 45-degree line down, right? And that is for the projection purposes of my top view onto my right view on my left-hand side. So now I will project all my different points, and you can start anywhere. I've used the last point at the bottom just to see where that fits in, and it just makes it onto my page slightly over the border. You will not lose marks if it goes over the border. And here you will see me projecting all 6 points from 1 to number 6, including apex, onto my 45. And then what happens? It goes up, right? Because in that space, you will find my right view will now formulate from the different lines that I'm projecting. So as I'm drawing my lines up, I have my top here, which is my base, and I have my bottom here, which is going to be my apex. So I've just zoomed in a little bit so that you can see a bit more clearer how this unfolds. I'm first going to take my apex, dot it, and you can see it's all about coordination of points. And I just want to stop. If you take this apex point and you trace it onto my 45 and up, and it lines up of where my A point actually is in my front view. And the same will apply with all the different points. You will see as I trace them, I will label them as well. And it's important for you in the exam to rather use numbers or letters, because it is a way of just ensuring that you understand what you're doing, and it will help you to get the actual cut that you need. So I've done all my points, and now I'm going to once again let them all run to my apex from 1 to number 6. I draw them all faintly first because I need to cut them eventually when I put in my cutting line in my front view. So there I've drawn that. Both of these views now are in faint format. Now I'm going to go to my second, which is my square pyramid. And I'm going to put in my square pyramid, and I'm only going to focus on my square pyramid now. And my square pyramid, I have to go up by 45. Remember, all sides of a square are the same. So I've got to go up 45. I'm going to draw a faint line. And because I know it is not touching, but that is my guide point there, where it just links up with my hexagonal pyramid. I bring that down. That's my one side. I'm going to cross this over as it is in my given view, that way, and the other way, which is my crossovers forming my apex. And because it's in my front view, as I've mentioned, you can darken it because this view contains the cutting plane. So I'm darkening that, nice and easy, clear, concise lines, and crossing it over for my apex. So there are my inclines. We'll see there, that shape faces us now. And now, to put in my cutting plane SS, I'm going to measure 10 millimeters away from this edge as per instruction, dot it, and then use an angle of 30 degrees as per my instruction from that 10 dot or the 10 point, and run a nice dark line through that. Once I've done that, I will label it as SS, because you do, however, get marks for the putting in the cutting line and labeling it correctly. Now you will see, learners, that this actually cuts perfectly at an incline through the hexagon, the hexagonal pyramid, and the square pyramid as well. And for you to be able to see what the shape looks like here is sort of the higher order part of this question. Let's proceed. So we're first going to cut one at a time. So I'm first going to do my hexagon, and for this particular exercise, I'm using a red color pen, but remember, pens are not allowed in engineering, graphics, and design. Pens are not allowed. You're not allowed to use a pen, but you may use a clutch pencil with color. Now, everywhere, and I just want to point out this, everywhere the cutting plane cuts on these sides that go up, the edges that go up, or come down, should I say, right? That is where I dot it, and I'm projecting with my red color ink or red color pencil those down onto this top view. Let's see how it goes. Right, so I've done this one here, and you will find significantly that that one cuts through the base. Now, once it cuts through the base, you must know that it cuts through 2 points always. If it cuts through the base, it cuts through 2 points, like I've mentioned there, or indicated there. Let's proceed. And then I cut through that little nip of a line there on 2. So I will bring my line down. Wherever 2 is, this is 2 to my apex, and I will dot that exactly there, very close to the end. That way it's cut. Right? And then we will move to number 6. It cuts on number 6. And you will see that that's 6 to A, 6 to A in your top view. Wherever it crosses this line, 6 to A, that is where you're going to plot your point. And then we're going to go to number 3. Number 3 is cut on that point there. I bring it down. There's my 3 to A, and I plot my point there. Then I'm going to go 5 to A, and 5 to A will be on that specific point here, you will see. And finally, the last one is 4 to A. 4 to apex will be just there, 4 to apex. So that is why your numbers are important, so that you know where to plot your points. And now that I have that, all I'm going to do is connect those. Connect those in sort of a weird shape that you will see, an irregular shape, I should say. And that irregular shape is this part here. Now, that part it has been cut, of which this has been removed. Right? So there I am just connecting that to formulate that shape that you see there. And by means of showing the cut section, I am now going to take my T-square and do my hatching lines, or what I call my sectional lines, hatching or sectional lines at a particular angle. So the angle of that can be any, ranging from 60, 30, or 45, doesn't really matter. Just so long it does not go parallel to any of the sides here, right? This one is slightly just passing the there, it's slightly not parallel there, but that would suffice for that cut. Now, when I take my page and say that part has been taken away, that little part still remains there, so that edge you're going to see still, that is the reason why I'm putting in that part over there. And then, of course, everything still runs down to my apex, which means that they will be there, but cannot be seen from the top. They will be there, but cannot be seen, and that is why I'm adding my dash lines, my hidden detail lines is the proper name, from all my existing points, which would be my cut points, to my apex. And because I'm viewing it from the top, I cannot see these corners, hence that they are drawn dashed. Okay, so that completes that part there, I'm now going to do the cut immediately onto this one, and then I'm going to come back to that one over there. So now, in a similar fashion as I've done on my top view, now I'm going to project all my cut points onto my right view on my left hand side. So you will see I do number 4, number 5, number 3, number 6, number 2, and then I don't know where this is, right? Because it's somewhere here, but I'm going to take the two base points, and this is important, the 2 base points, I'm going to take onto my 45. It's still in red because I'm busy with my hexagonal pyramid, and there I'm bringing those 2 base points, and I just want to pause it right here. My 2 base points, I don't know where I can find that down here if I just project it over. These ones I can find, but the key here is to ensure that you have the 2 base points here projected onto the 45, and you will have it there. And you will see that I start by drawing that dark first to identify that, okay, on my base. So that is my dark section there, which is that point over there. And now I'm going to connect the other points. So 2 will connect with where 2 is. So this is 2. So I'm going to have a point plotted there. Right? There's my 2. That is where my 2 is. And you got to trace where it is and plot it. Then I'm going to go number 6. Number 6 is way on this side here. That's where number 6 is. Then that is number 3. Number 3 is going to connect with that 3 over there. Number 5 is going to be where number 5 is right here. And number 6, which is the last one, which is right at that point over there. Sorry, not number 6, number 4. That is number 4 that I'm busy with here. And then I just, once again, connect all my points so that it forms that irregular shape, which means that that is, in fact, the cut section. Okay, so there I will do my forming of my cut section by connecting all my points in that irregular shape that you will see there. And now once you have completed that, in the same way that we've done the cut hatching, you are going to take your set square and your T-square and do a hatching. And here I can choose any type of slant. In this case, I have chosen the 60 degrees on my set square to be able to do the hatching presentation of the cut section in that view there. Nice even spacings that you have so that you can get the full mark for that. And now I'm going to ask, if I remove that and I view it from this side, this bottom part will still be there. So I have to draw that in. All these points will then go down. But keep in mind, that point will be dark. Number 6 will be dark. All right. Number 5 will be dark as well. And number 4, because I'm viewing it from this side, number 4 and 5 will be dark. But number 1 and number 4. Sorry, number 4 will be dark, as I can see there. I view it from this side. Number 5 here will be dark. I view it from that side. But number 1 here will be dashed because I can't see it. Right? It's on the opposite side. I know the corner is there, but I can't see it. And then also number 2 is on the opposite side. Number 2 will be dashed as well, which indicate that the corner is there, but I am unable to see it. And that's why it's dashed. Right, so that concludes that part of my drawing, which is basically just focusing on the not the pentagonal, but the hexagonal pyramid. Right, now I'm going to draw my attention to the square pyramid, and I project these lines down as it is in my given. It's in line with that point over there. That's the back part. And then it slants to my front or slants to my apex. So I'm going to darken this line first, which is my back point. And I know the front part is going to be 50 millimeters according to the instruction, and there I'm drawing in my 50, nice and faint. Right, I'm not going to draw dark yet, as there's a cutting line that goes through it, so I need to find the cutting line or the cut section first. So the back section you will probably draw dark, but that point there will be now identified on this line here, and you will see me drawing in green. So these points that cross here, that is where the cut section is, right? So it cuts from this side to that point here, to that point, to that side again. So I've identified those 2 points, as you can see, and now I'm going to darken all the section till that point, bring it slanted across, and reverse it to that point again. There you will see the slant up until that section there. That one goes onto that point over there. That's where it cuts, and then it just goes across. And that is the cut section of this square pyramid. Now I'm going to hatch a different type of hatching, opposite direction perhaps this time around, to ensure that you show that these are 2 different things or different shapes that we are busy with. Nice even spacing, evenly apart. What I need to do is to check. If I take that away, that's my cut section. What remains, right? The tip part is not there anymore, so that just remains faint. That is the only part that you will be able to see. Now I project over to my right view on my left-hand side, and I take the whole shape, the front part, the original apex part, take that up, and it connects with this apex coming across here. So I first work with the original. So now I have to identify where is that according to my lines. So the back part is here, and the height is there given to you. That's my height, right? And then I'm just faintly going to draw in that back part there of my square pyramid, and then it slants to my apex, which I've identified according to the top and the front view. Faintly I slant that. So this is going to take preference in viewing over my hexagonal pyramid, so I will have to erase that part later, but I just want to show you where the cut section is done here if you view it from this side. So if you project that point across, and that's at the back, so you're going to have to plot a point there, that's at the back. This is on the one slant, and you will see wherever it crosses on the one slant, there you're going to have a point, and this crosses on the other slant on the other side, but the same line, so you're going to find that point crossing there. Okay, so it's just a matter of crossing, line crossings, and then that will be at the back as well, which is here. So you have your 4 points, these 2 at the back and those 2 on the slants. So you're going to connect them. That one goes there, that one goes there, and that one slants till there, and then obviously the back part. So we only have the cut section now. Here's the cut section. That is where the cut takes place. You're going to hatch it again, evenly hatched lines going across. Right, you will see I have to erase that because this square prism takes preference, as I said, over the hexagonal one. And just to bring in those lines again, we have erased, and that falls behind. That's why you will see me erasing that part. That is what's gone. What is remaining? That bottom part remains. So you are going to see that little part at the bottom there going to the apex still, which is this little section that you see there. And learners, if you look at that, you have now completed 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Both solids, which is your hexagonal pyramid cut in your top view, as well as in your right view on your left hand side, as well as the cut shown in your square prism, square pyramid. both in your top and your right view on your left hand side. And you can see strategically I've planned it according to my lines where I've done the cutting. Wherever it crossed, I plotted the point, I connected, I hatched. So it's very important for you to understand and for you to work with numbers. This was quite straightforward because I didn't use numbers here because we only had 4 sides and it was just placed in a position where I could easily get the cut section. But it's a little bit more tricky when it comes to pentagonal shapes or hexagonal shapes. When it's upside down like this, I would advise grade 12s to use numbers or letters for easy plotting purposes. Right. So the only thing that's left is for you to do 2.4, which is very quickly, and you will draw the true shape of the cut section. So this here is the cut section of the hexagonal pyramid, but you need to draw the true shape of that. And this is not the true shape. That is not the true shape. It's sort of on a slant. How do you draw the true shape? You're going to find space here, up here, and there are 2 methods that you can use to draw the true shape. The one that I'm going to use is what we call the cone generator method, where you arc, but of course you can also draw lines at 90 degrees from this cut line. Let me show you. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which of the 2 methods you use. Both will be rewarded as marks in the exam. So let us see what happens next. So you will find that you need blank space to be able to do the last part. And this is important. You are going to take this section here between that cut point there and where it stops here, that section, and you're going to, and I want to just come back to what I did. You're literally going to take your line and you're going to sort of put it up straight here. Now, if you look at what I do is, that's going to happen. So that these points are all going to be taken onto a straight line here. So I've drawn this line straight. That is the lowest point. I've drawn it straight, right? And that is this point over here. And I've also drawn a line against the closest point here, which is my XY line. I've dropped it till there. And now I'm creating another XY line here. Now these 2 are speaking to one another. In fact, they are the same. Anywhere here, I'm going to draw this XY line, and I've dropped this XY line against the closest point, which is there. So what I'm going to do is, like I did with my pencil, I'm going to bring all these points up until this line over here. And what do? I use my compass, and I go to the smallest one. My smallest distance, I just arc onto that point there. That is a point now. I go to the next one, which is number 3. I arc there. I go to number 6. I arc onto that line. And I go to number 2. I arc there. And then, of course, my base, I arc there. Now, I just want to stop there. Now, you will see I've taken this piece of line and I've drawn it straight up here. I've drawn this lowest point straight here because that point here, which goes straight, is actually this point over here. If you trace it, there you will see. And I brought all those points up onto this line, of which this point is there already. That's why there's no arc. So I've taken my arc from this point, and you will see it is number 4 that's existing on the line. Number 5 I brought by arcing. Number 3, number 6 I've brought by arcing. Number 2, and of course the base. And now what's going to happen is that I've extended this one already. I'm going to extend all these points now that way. All these points this way. All right, and that's all my numbers. This is the only point here that will have 2 plottings on one line. All these others will have 1 plotting. So what is it that I'm going to do? Right? I'm going to measure down here and plot it that way. So because this 4 here, that's not 4, sorry. This 6 is my closest point. It's actually on the line. I can take this 6 and just make sure that I plot it on that point. And you will see the pattern that I'm following. I measure down and I use my compass and I arc it that way. So just watch the pattern, what unfolds in this drawing. So I'm going to start with the closest point, which is number 6. And I'm going to follow and trace it. Where's number 6? It's on the line because these two XY lines are the same. Then I'm going to go here to number 1. Right? Not number 1, but the cut section of my base. That's 2 points. So you'll see I arc it there and I go back here and I take the furthest point with my arcing. You can see there, furthest point. And I go back there from the same point I arc there. That's now those 2 points that you will have here and there. Then I'm going to take this point, which is my furthest point, and I'm going to take it across and away from my XY line. So I measure away this side and I plot away that side. I take this point, I have that point already, number 6. That is my size, and I plot that size on that side. And then I go with this one over here. That is my size, and you can measure it as well. You don't have to do it like I do. You can measure it, and I'm just going to plot it where it is. And the last one is going to be this one over here, where you see I measure every time away from my XY line and then plot it away from my XY line there. And then all I have to do now is connect the points like I've done previously. And I start at a specific point and go right around connecting my points. And you will find significantly a hexagon has 6 corners, but here are 7 points. Why? Because the base has 2 points, making it 7, 1 extra one. And there you have your true shape. That is your true shape indeed. And all you need to do is to find an angle for you to hatch that at a specific degrees. Doesn't matter which, 45, 30, or 60. And make sure that you complete it like that. And that, my dear grade 12 learners, brings us to the end of this particular question, which can be asked in your final exam at the end of the year. Prepare well. It will always be front, top, right or left, and a true shape of 2 solids, of which they will be pyramids, or they can be prisms as well, but there will be a combination of 2. I want to wish you all the best with this question. It's paper November 2020. If you watch this video, please try and draw it out and follow the video to the letter to ensure that you can attain the benefit of what we have discussed this afternoon. Shukran so much. All the best. I've completed my session, Amir.
Indeed, mashallah, we say shukran, jazakallah khair, baitra makasi to Mr. Ridwan Basir, who so beautifully conducted today's session. And that was for all of the engineering, graphics, and design students. I hope that all of the students had greatly benefited from the discourse of Mr. Ridwan Basir. And with that said, as a reminder, once again, to all of our beloved viewers, to the Voice of the Cape's YouTube and Facebook page, please like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube platform and the Facebook platform of the Voice of the Cape. And make sure that you share this link of the Matric revision sessions and the subjects that we are offering in these sessions to all of those who are preparing for their upcoming NSC exams. Of course, as a reminder, this is the Voice of the Cape's annual Matric revision session, which is this year being sponsored by the Two Oceans Graduate Institute, which is an online accredited platform where you can become a primary school or a high school teacher by studying in the privacy of your own home. For more details, you may visit their website on www.togi.ac.za, or you may contact them 021-829-7015 to find out more information. On behalf of our side at the Voice of the Cape, we'd like to thank Mr. Ridwan Basir and say shukran to him for conducting and facilitating today's session so beautifully. And as a reminder for all of the engineering, graphics, and design students, I hope that you benefit from this greatly. And please share and forward this link to everyone else who is preparing and who are preparing rather for the upcoming examinations. From our side, we say shukran, jazakallah khair, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.